Before we went to break, we were talking about the fight this weekend. 54-year-old Mike Tyson came out of retirement to face off against former champ Roy Jones Jr., who was 51. These guys fought 8 rounds. There were only 2 rounds. They weren't the normal 3 rounds. And they called it a draw. Now, the biggest star of the night was Snoop Dogg, whose commentary was all over social media. Let's take a look.
Mike Tyson all over Roy Jones Jr. Snoop.
This shit like 2 of my uncles fighting at the barbecue. Get your uncle out of here. Get him out. You go meet me in the backyard. I'm tired of this shit. Come on. Meet me back here, huh?
He had no mercy. He did. He took no prisoners. And it gave you that like ghetto, like you go over to your cousin's them house and somebody got a room back in the patio that's like a man cave, and y'all just get crunk and turned loose, and you take no prisoners. Snoop Dogg took no prisoners. It was excellent commentary.
This is. Do you have a point? These guys too old to be fighting like young men in their prime. It was a slow moving fight.
Well, yeah, Mike Tyson looked good. Mike Tyson looked like he was just warming back up. You know, I'm gonna keep that real. I mean, when it was over, Mike was just getting ready. And do you all know that Mike Tyson lost 100 pounds?
Yep.
Wow.
Yes, he lost 100 pounds. So you can see with Mike and Mike's commentary was amazing too. Yes, he was like, yeah, everybody telling Roy Jones Jr., you scared to get in the ring with Mike Tyson? He said, shit, I ain't boxing 15 years. He just got boxing in 3. I got to worry about my ass. Because everybody's like, Mike, you got that boom, that one punch. Everybody know. But Roy was excellent. He tied him up. You know what I mean? I was shocked he lasted, to be honest with you. But he got some really excellent counter punches in there. It was good to me. I mean,
I feel the same way about that because I didn't think that Roy was going to last. And
I didn't either.
I don't know why I felt that way. I think because
he was praying for Roy.
Mike is the champ, you feel like Mike Tyson, Iron Mike. You know what I mean? So automatically it was like, whoa. But I will say that Roy was a contender. He stood in that ring with him, and he took the beating, and he gave some. You know what I mean?
I just wish he would have waxed that taco meat off his chest. Though,
the taco meat and the sauce.
That was killing me right there, Roy. I love you, man. Like you dope and you lasted, dog. But some waxing, or just you could have got it.
But see, Roy is a Hall of Famer. So we gotta be.
What's it got to do with waxing?
We gotta give him his respect now. The man is a Hall of Famer.
Okay, but once again, I'm all about
several different weights. The man has done welterweight, middleweight, heavyweight. He's done all the weights, and he's a Hall of Famer. Now we all know that if Mike hit your ass one time, it's it. It's curtains and mini blinds. But Lennox Lewis said it was science, and Roy Jones hit him with the science the whole night. He hugged him. He said, this nigga ain't hitting me. Fuck what y'all heard. He's not hitting me. I'm going to go ahead and last because I don't want to get talked about like Nate in the last.
But you can definitely tell his ribs was hurting after the fight because he kept
he couldn't even breathe. He couldn't even breathe.
The rib looked like it was cracked. And I will say this. I thought Mike Tyson was going to lose only because this. The last fight was 15 years ago, and he lost against a white boy. Please Google
Mike Tyson?
Yes.
His last fight, really? Oh, he was just tired. He was just tired by then.
That's okay. He was just tired.
White boy knocked Nate Robinson.
I wouldn't even count that because toward the end of his career boxing, Mike Tyson hated boxing. So
he was a guy out of Boston, I think, and I was so surprised to see that. But the real fight was poor Nate Robinson. And listen, 3 times he won the slam dunk contest. He's only 5'8", 5'9". He won the slam dunk contest 3 times, but this fight he kind of got slam dunked.
He lost this one. He got knocked the fuck out.
But can I tell you, like he was, I knew those memes were going to be vicious. Let's just keep that real. And they were. They came swiftly and immediately. They really did, which wasn't surprising. But can I tell you, the one person who showed compassion that blew me away was Floyd Mayweather. That he was like, yo, cuz, I know you got knocked the fuck out, but check it out. You still my dog.
Yeah, we fall down.
Everybody else was clowning Nate. I was like, oh my God. But Floyd came through, was like, yeah, okay, it happened. But you still, because that's gonna be hard to live down. Let's just keep that real. Every time you see him, you're gonna be like, hey man, you all right?
Especially right now with the racial tension in America, like when you see a black man get beat by a white guy, I'm like, oh, that's one for the Trump team. You know what I mean? I was like, ugh.
No, he got beat up, and it was, and regardless of that boy was white, you almost thought that boy was black. He got beat up so bad. But at the end of the day, I do feel, you know what? Listen, it took a lot of balls to get in that ring.
Right.
Snoop said on the commentary, he said, "There's two things that you don't play with." He said, "That's boxing and pimping." So boxing was one of them. Okay, then. Now, I'm not mad in there. I think that people should, you know, I'm one of the people that think you should do everything that you ever want to do in this lifetime. And fuck it. You fall, you get back up, you come back stronger the next time. But that shit was very reminiscent of Tommy Hearns and Martin episode. I laughed. I had the best laugh I could ever have.
And the the challenge. They was quick with the challenge too. How they did the pose with like one shoe off, pair of cowboy boots. Like, I mean, these people, they're creative.
Nate, we praying for you, dog.
I love Nate.
We still got love for him.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
still a dunk champ. You know, just got knocked the fuck out.
You were really, really amazing at basketball. Okay, now the Grammy nominations just came out, and there's an online chat about the awards fueled some tension between Cardi B and Wiz Khalifa. A fan reacted to the Grammy nominations on Wiz's page, writing, "Cardi winning a Grammy when Nicki Minaj didn't is the biggest proof that they don't know shit about music." Wiz responded, simply saying, "Most self-made artists have this problem." Cardi clapped back on her own page about the beef, stating, "I don't understand why niggas entertain tweets that put successful women against each other. Y'all not tired of that? Especially when you was rooting hard when a bitch was at the bottom." Do you think Wiz Khalifa's comments was taken out of context by Cardi? Or do you think it fuels, you know, like, listen, ain't no lie. People do love, you know, pitting women against each other. It's since the beginning of time. So what do you think? You think it was innocent, or you think he was like, you know, starting some shit?
I think that was innocent. I think that was his experience of when you are a self-made person, you don't have a label behind you in the beginning, you don't have a team behind you, and you really trying to, because she came from the reality show. And when reality was hitting with her, she wasn't really hitting as a rapper. So she had to come from that to be able to get some shine. So I think he was like, well, yeah, when that happens, you know, it's harder to climb. I don't think he meant that any one of them was better or that he was taking her down from the Grammy. I don't feel that.
I think he was speaking to the Grammy, you know, the Recording Academy.
Exactly.
And I think that in doing so, it was a small misstep as far as comparing two women. And had it been two women that have not been at odds before, maybe it wouldn't have been a big deal. But everybody knows that there was some beef there before between them. So to utilize those two women in that instance, he could have used any other category. There were tons of categories that were sniped. There were tons of categories that were inaccurate. In you know that.
Oh, absolutely.
Breonna Taylor was on there going off like it was all the weekend was going on. Like people have been going off all weekend. So it was. I would be interested to know why he chose those specific two, you know, to express his feelings about the Recording Academy when there were so many other artists that he could have.
But weren't they in the same category?
No, but but in general, the entire Recording Academy, their entire nominations every year have been getting worse and worse and worse.
Absolutely, they do.
And everyone's been complaining. And so to use those two, it does look very like, why are you picking these two? You know what I'm saying? Why would you do that when we're trying to be together as Black women?
I'm gonna say they're probably because they're the biggest names in hip hop, and of course, you know, Meg Thee Stallion. And again, I think you're right. I think everyone has been kind of going in on the Grammys and their process and how what are they thinking? Like, how do y'all pick? And I think it's a whole. That's why I gotta say it again before we move on to this Kevin Hart story. Black folks, stop abandoning Black award shows like Soul Train and
exactly.
Now y'all get to a certain level. And you're too big to go to the Black award show because you think they're ghetto. They're not ghetto. They're the ones that supported you when these white ones weren't. And when I work at the award show and I see that they have a struggle getting R&B singers there or big stars, I'm like, they should all be here because this is who had your back when these
never forget your home base.
We're not having your back. So
and a big shout out to Tisha Campbell and to Sheena Arnold for hosting the Soul Train Awards this weekend. This Sunday, they did fabulous.
They always do fabulous.
That was their second year in a row, right?
I'm sorry, guys, I have to disagree. Being that I am in this actual industry, I know exactly what's going on with these Soul Train Awards. They too disrespect and leave out a lot of key artists. They regurgitate the same
thing
over and over again. Huh?
Such as whom?
I don't give a shit. Oh, BET Awards, Soul Train Awards, Hip Hop Award, any type.
But I mean, but what artists did you feel were left out?
There are a lot of artists that are left out. I'm always left out. I'm used to it. But I had a conversation with Stephanie Mills about it, that she had been left off for many years. John Ross had an amazing album this year. It's just like they utilize the same artists because they're trying to create viewership.
Ratings.
They're trying to get ratings, and that. Yeah. Now, listen, I've seen it where they don't let artists even on the carpets, and this was when pre-COVID, they don't even let them on the carpets. And these are artists that have music and material out. And not John Ross, Kevin Ross had an amazing album out this year that was totally overlooked. Anthony Hamilton had an album that was out. It was lots of artists are always overlooked all the time. And it's like, it's fine if somebody did good and you let them do their thing, great. You want to give them their accolades. But to have the same people in the same categories over and over again is weird.
Let me ask you this:
the Grammys only have 4 R&B categories, only 4. They cut out a whole bunch.
And to play devil's advocate, is it what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did they stop coming first, or did they stop being supported? And also, a lot of people are going to be left out. Especially, there's a lot of people are going to be left out that deserve it. Doesn't that happen with most award shows?
No, it's more than just being left out because they deserve it. It's very obvious that a lot of artists are left out because they're not popping or popular. Whereas, for instance, the Grammys was supposed to be an award show that is graded by peers. I'm a voting member. So all the people that are part of the Recording Academy are inside of the industry. So you're supposed to be chosen by peers. They don't go by charts. They don't go by any of that. Some award shows go by radio plays. Some award shows go by record sales. Remember the year that it was one artist that no one had ever heard of, and it was the Grammys, and she got 9 nominations.
And no one knew who she was.
I forgot her name. She was
it Billie English?
She was dope. It was a girl. And it was a while back. It was after Lauryn Hill. When Lauryn got those 5 nominations for Miss Education, which were absolutely right, then they saw how much that brought eyes to the show. Then they just start doing that with more artists. You start seeing these multiple nominations. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of it is very political. It's very political. And I think that sometimes our African-American stations, they'll follow suit of these white stations to try to get the same type of clout. And I hate to say it, but it's the truth. But
political too. You absolutely right.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
BET Awards and Soul Train. Soul Train was supposed to be for more soulful R&B type artists, and then BET you have your more pop culturist, pop culture crossover type artists. You know what I'm saying? So it was okay, good. Then we used to have Lady of Soul, but then that's gone.
Yeah, I remember that.
Now Soul Train Awards has artists on their roster or in their nominations that aren't even soul artists. Aren't even considered soul artists. It's because they want to draw eyes, and maybe the viewership is going down, and they have to do what they have to do.
Didn't Justin Bieber say that he was in the category that he shouldn't have been in? He said that his music was not pop.
He dedicated his album to be an R&B album, and they put him right back over in pop. And he said, "Wait a minute,
the color of his skin."
I specifically told y'all when I released the album, it is my R&B album. And but this is when you have to say, I believe with the Oscars, the reason why you're seeing Oscars, the Oscar awards change, and now you see more integration, is because the members raised hell when they had the Oscars so white, this and the third. So maybe that's what, instead of complaining about it, why don't they go knock on the door, say, hey, who's voting? And take a better look at that. And then if those are the people that are not their peers, then they need to create their own award.
I think that's going across the board with everything, not even just with our nation, but we all need to just step up, period, on absolutely everything if we want to be heard. That's
why I'm a voting member. That's why I'm a voting member of everything.
Right. So then you want to say to them, just one person vote. Like we saw, like Lisa Ray said, we saw with the last election, when you vote and you're involved, things happen differently.
Yeah.
So I'm sure this is something we could probably talk a lot about because I think the solution is probably somewhere in the middle. At some point, the artists that are getting ignored need to be acknowledged. And I do think I still stand by the original thought. I think that we need to support our own because we created our own because we're getting left out of the white shit. If you think we're ignoring us, the white people are ignoring us 10 times more is my opinion.
We just got to get invited. We'll come if we're invited. If they want to give us a seat, we'll go.
Okay, we got a quick break. We got to take a quick break, you ladies. We're way over.
Nora Jones. That's who it was. T said. Nora Jones.
When we come back, we'll be joined by author, host, and life coach, Iyanla Vanzant, right here.